Hello and welcome to Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. This game was released in 2008 and 2009, and as you can tell, it is a old game. For the next, foreseeable future, couple of years, I'm going to spend some time playing old Monster Hunter and showing why I love these games and what makes them special. Especially if you are playing new Monster Hunter games, then you should be able to go back to old Monster Hunter games and see stuff that you don't get to experience otherwise. So this is the entire point of this playthrough. And we're going to start by naming our character, coming up with different customizations, and figuring out what our weapon choice is going to be. So, for the start, this is going to be... come up with a character name. I don't know. Kali is speaking to me at the moment, and we select a face. I mean, I like that one. Just because of the eyes. That's just goth makeup. And that's it, there are 32 faces. Okay. I mean, that one stands out to me. I don't know if I like the pale makeup on that. We'll try this one. Okay, that's... this is a very Phantasy Star hairstyle. I like that one. And this needs to be, like, dark. Darker. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I think I like the Type 6 the most, actually. I don't really like the base clothings. It's fine. Are you a beginner? No. And save this character. And without further ado, welcome to Old Monster Hunter. Ah, you're awake. No, you shouldn't get up yet. It's best if you rest for just a little while longer. You fell from a cliff, but the snow must have cushioned your fall. You were bruised and suffered a bit of frostbite, so recovery will take a few days. I'm not so much worried about the bruise on your back as much as the bruise to your ego. You are definitely gonna need some extra days of rest. So, first things first, this is our house. We're going to be staying here for the majority of our playthrough. Poke Village is a very well-known and beloved village across the series, and also shows up in Generations. First things first, this is our item box. We're going to be here for a while as well. Everything we could ever want is in this box. We don't have any items, but we do have one of every weapon, and a basic set of armor, the Mafumofo set. This is what you see the hunter use in the opening video. This armor is good to put on to start, because not only is it armor in the first place, so it gives you some defense, but it also has a very useful skill. This is cold resistance and protection. The most important one is the ability to just go around without worrying about the cold. Because as you noticed, the mountain that we're near is going to be freezing. So having this armor helps us not have to worry about the cold, and we can stay there for long enough. Now then, for weapons, there are 10 different weapons in this game. Well, more like 11, but it's whatever. And for the most part, this playthrough is going to be dedicated to Sword and Shield and Longsword, but if you want to see a weapon represented in a future recording, then just feel free to say so, and I will take the time to learn the weapon in Freedom Unite and show off as many weapons as people want to see. For the first starting weapon, I'm going to begin with Sword and Shield. I don't really play Sword and Shield that often in a lot of games, and ever since I started playing in 3 Ultimate, I actually kinda started to play all the weapons. Sword and Shield is the most neglected weapon in the game for me, next to Dual Blades. Not really much of a Dual Blades player. Ah, you're awake. How are you? Still in pain? Seems you're alright. Found you collapsed on a cliff in the mountains. If I would have left you there, you'd be nothing but an ice cube by now. Thank me later. Oh, how rude of me. Allow me to introduce myself. I am the hunter attached to this village. Or at least I used to be. A wyvern attacked and injured me, forcing me into retirement. That is why we sent for you. You were to become my replacement. Which left me in a jam when you collapsed up in the snowy mountains. I had no idea what I should do. A new village with new things. I'm sure you have plenty of questions to ask. I'm here to answer as many as I can. I know it isn't much, but I'd like to give you a present. The old equipment I used when I was a hunter. Take a look inside your item box when you get home. I wasn't sure what kind of weapon you used, so I put lots of different kinds in your item box. They aren't great, but they should come in handy. If nothing really strikes you as perfect, I recommend starting with the sword. Keep using it until you get used to being a hunter. By the way, I put your clothes in the item box. What you've got on now is fine for the village, but put on your real clothes when venturing out. They're great against the cold, so don't forget them if you go to the mountains. If you use other armor, bring items like a hot drink versus the cold. And then this is the Forge and Smithy. Yeah, so you need new weapons or armor. Don't ya know that it is important that hunters have the best armor and weapons? If you have materials, then the crafting shop next door can make something for you. But if not, then you'll have to buy your items brand new, meow. I'll even sell you armor that they can't craft next door. Next time, I'll get some terrific armor for you, meow. It's just right now our stocks are a little low, yeah. But when you don't have materials, step right up. But buy a lot. I've got to eat, meow. If we need weapons for crafting and upgrading later, then we buy them from the Felyne. If we want to forge and upgrade our weapons, then we talk to this guy. I kind of just scrolled past this, but when you don't have materials, you should visit the weapons shop and talk to that darn Felyne. All you need is money to buy armor or weapons from them. Now, if you got some materials and want to make new equipment, I'm your man. All you need is materials and money. I can make anything. If you want to improve weapons or armor, I'm also your man. You'll need materials and money for bows or melee weapons. Bowguns only require money. Improving armor will require special materials and money. Huh? What materials, you ask? I'll tell you about that later. Patience, Grasshopper. Oh, I forgot to mention decorations. When it's time to add skill points to armor or weapons, I'm the man you need to see. To be honest, it's not a stretch to say that hunters wouldn't be able to continue their vocation without my skills. Anyways, if you happen across any new materials, you know where to come. So, if we want to forge new weapons from scratch, we can also talk to this guy, instead of buying them outright. We have more variations of unique weapons from the forge, as opposed to the smithy, which is the person nearby that sells stuff. For instance, we currently have a sword and board. In order for us to upgrade this Bone Crest to a Bone Crest Plus, we need a small monster bone and a brute bone. Where do you get small monster bones and brute bones? The game doesn't tell you. The thing about Monster Hunter is that a lot of the information and knowledge of this game is shared between players, and was done intentionally by developers. The way that information was shared were through online forums, but more importantly, which is going to be the case for this playthrough, to help everything along, I will be using a bunch of game facts guides that are exclusively to help people figure out what to do in this game. For instance, if instead we don't talk to the item shop and we talk to this lady here, this is the Elder. Well, it looks like you're all fixed up. When I heard that a hunter had fallen in the snowy mountains, I was so shocked. Oh my, I haven't introduced myself. I'm the chief of this village. It's called Poke. Can you believe an old lady like me can be village chief? I'm hoping I can convince you to settle down as a hunter in this village. You know the house you woke up in? You can stay there as long as you'd like. Anyways, I'd like you to show me your strength by completing an easy quest that was requested nearby here. That's okay with you, right? Huh? You're still recovering. Well, once you feel up to it, you can try some of the quests from other areas, but first you should rest up a bit. That reminds me, if you head to the guild counter, you can initiate various quests. You see the large building on the left, don't you? That's the Gathering Hall. Inside you'll find a branch of the Hunters Guild. If you want to take out a multiple hunter quest, that's your best bet. For details, head over and ask the person at the counter. Oh, I forgot to give you some money. It's not much, but it's enough to get started. On the right, you will find a general store that sells many great items. Next to that is a shop selling armor and weapons. Go there for equipment needs. If there's something you don't understand about hunting, go to the training school. You see the path to the left of the gathering hall, right? Go straight down that path and press the square button to go to the training school. If quests are getting too hard, go there to toughen up. Well then, good luck out there. Don't overdo it, okay? I'm looking forward to watching your progress. 1500 Zenny. Zenny is the currency of this game. As you can tell, we didn't have any until we were given some by the chief. So, the village chief tells you quests. All of these quests are very important. Because some of them are gathering quests, but some of them are marked as key quests. And in order to progress further in each tree of the quests, if I were to show you them, what level of quests shall you go for? I can only handle 1-star quests. Just to confirm, this walkthrough by Ryan77 that you can find that has a full table of contents regarding everything about Freedom Unite has a page dedicated to quests that are marked as key quests. The actual key quests are Hunt the Carnivore, Sinking Feeling, and Slay the Blangos. The other two are optionals. Well, optional, as in you don't actually get anything for doing them other than completing a quest. I will be doing mountain herb picking just to kinda get some extra equipment and items, but otherwise we're just going to be focusing on key quests, and then I'll do some gathering if need be, which is going to be all the time. See, in Old Monster Hunter, you start off with basically nothing. Like, we only just got 1500 Zenny, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's enough to get by with. However, we don't have any means to upgrade our weapons or get new equipment. We have to go out into the wilderness and gather items necessary to allow us to actually do stuff. And going to the shops is an easy way to know what items to look out for. Well, hello there. You're the new hunter, right? This general store should have all of the various items you need. We carry everything from daily necessities like herbs to the various specialty items needed for a hunter's life. Let us know what you need. Unfortunately, ever since the last hunter retired, our normal supply routes have dried up, so we don't have our full complement of stock. That's why we've been looking forward to your arrival for so long. Your success will mean we will be able to return our stock to normal. So there's a handful of items that I'm going to grab immediately. Because we're wearing the Mofumofu set, we don't have to worry about bringing hot drinks in order to survive the sheer cold of the snowy mountains. We're going to be going up into the mountains to gather mountain herbs, so odds are we'll be getting herbs anyways. So for now, I'm going to buy pickaxes and bug nets. Because for a lot of Monster Hunter, for a very long time, until World, pickaxes and nets were temporary, breakable resources. So we have 1500 Zenny to start, but I'm going to spend most of my Zenny on pickaxes. You can only carry up to 3 of these at a time. I'm going to just go with basic old bug nets to start. And then we're going to do mountain herb picking. This is just to talk about the game's core mechanics. But also because there's a lot of nodes in the Snowy Mountains that I want to go grab while we're there because it's easy materials that will take a while to make self-sufficient. Greetings. I just happen to be a traveling purveyor of fine goods. Some insist I'm saying I'm a peddler. I'm stocking up on everyone's unwanted items. If you got anything you want, if you got anything you be wanting, speak up. I'll sell it to you cheap. Sometimes I acquire me some goods right cheap, so I sell them right cheap. Care to peruse my fine collection? These are a bunch of uncommon items that we also want to look out for. You can buy herbs at the normal store, and potions, Herbs are necessary to make potions. Antidote herbs are necessary to make antidotes. And of course, all of these things are necessary for different purposes, including Felyne, which I'm gonna grab a couple for safety purposes, because we'll get into Melinxes later. A lot of these items here are good to have if you just need to build a supply of something, but for the most part, we don't need anything here other than some Felyne. So, we have an inventory of very basic items, and we're just gonna go out into the Snowy Mountains. The quest here for mountain herb picking is to deliver 5 mountain herbs to the red supply box. But while we're here, we might as well get some extra supplies, because the time limit here is 50 minutes. We don't need 50 minutes to get 5 mountain herbs. Welcome to Snowy Mountains. Snowy Mountains is quite a beautiful place, with a lot of detail to it, and for the most part, this area is the place most old-gen Monster Hunter players recognize from the outset. This place is indisputably a classic Monster Hunter area to a lot of people. It's also shown up in Generations Ultimate, where it is drop-dead gorgeous. Like, they dramatically improved upon it. My tracking broke somehow. So the thing about Old Monster Hunter is something that literally just occurred to that herb decoration over there. There are no gathering point indications for where certain gathering nodes are. You have to know where they are based off of visual acuity. Also, when you are collecting certain materials, like pickaxes or bugs, you need to use items that have a chance to break. So, we just spent 180 zenny and got 4 bugs. And we will continue to spend 180 zenny on 4 bugs until we are able to afford stronger pickaxes. Also, you may have noticed that even though I am gathering stuff right now, there is a chance that something like nothing found will show up. However, another message can show up, which is hopefully going to show up once we're done collecting herbs from this node. There we go. There is nothing else here. That is the only way you know a node is empty. It doesn't disappear. This also applies to gathering nodes that require the bug net or the pickaxe. In order for you to know for sure that a node is empty, you have to hit it with a pickaxe or use a bug net, and if there's nothing else there, then that chance of it breaking can still happen, which means that you can break your tools on nothing. For basic controls, I'm pressing X to do the roll. I'm using PlayStation control indications for this. X is also how you crouch. You can only crouch when you're standing still. You cannot crouch while moving. If you try to press the crouch button while moving, it will do a roll. And sometimes you want to roll. But if you're trying to crouch, you don't want to roll. For the most part, I'm just showing gathering nodes that we will be hitting most often. Another node is coming up pretty soon, actually. These little cracks on the wall here are our mining nodes. There is no distinct indication of their existence otherwise. Goldstone piece is good, that's an account item, I can talk about that. For now, it seems like we're getting whetstones, which is also good. That sound is that the node is empty. So, whetstones. As we attack things, like, for instance, a bug that's annoying us, every time we hit a monster, we lose sharpness. That sword icon in the upper left is our sharpness. As you can no doubt tell, hitting certain monsters will be a challenge. Okay. So, for the most part, all of our weapons are going to have a very low amount of sharpness. Currently, our sword and shield is yellow sharpness, and that's only like the 3rd level of sharpness, so we're not really that crazy. We're also going to attack some Velociprey, because I want to try to get some of their parts for things later. The Sword and Shield's attacks are very simple. Triangle is going to be your vertical slashes, and circle is going to be your horizontal slashes. You pair them together for different combos, and you can dodge roll in a handful of directions while maintaining momentum. If an attack involves your shield, that shield is blunt. So you get a combination of both the cutting power of a sword and the blunt power of a shield, which can allow for some interesting interactions. Hitting monsters with blunt damage can cause KO or stun if the monster is weak to it in that body part. All monsters are separated by essentially like hitboxes, and all these hitboxes are body parts. For the most part, a lot of monsters are kind of just legs, arms or wings, and a head. Sometimes there's a tail. Sometimes there's more than one set of legs. But for now, we're going to be dealing with raptors, which are not really crazy monsters. You kind of just want to attack them. Their bodies are enough to just deal damage to, that there is no overall weakness to damage on any of their body parts. It's just good to hit them. There's another one. We got some stone, that's good. Okay. Stone is going to be pretty useful for later. These two nodes here are herb nodes. This one and the one across. This will get us mountain herbs. Now, we were only told to deliver 5, but we can go above and beyond and max out our stack of mountain herbs, because mountain herbs are an account item. Account items, I'll give you an amount of zenny and an amount of poke points equivalent to the amount of zenny earned from the account item. Mountain herbs are 50 zenny, so they're worth about 50 points, for instance. These Mahabras are going to be annoying. But aren't they always? Another interesting quirk about old Monster Hunter that a lot of people don't realize until they start playing the game much later is that you have to press the button per gather. Most people are kind of used to just holding the button to gather, and they're also used to automatic climbing and clambering over terrain. In this game, if you want to scale any cliff, if you want to attach yourself to a wall of ivy, you have to press a contextual button, and there is no indication for that. So, anytime you see something that kind of stands out, then that's more likely than you think a gathering point. Nothing is really set dressing, if you think about it that way. I think the blizzard just ended. So, I've been kind of wishy-washy on the controls, and that's for the most part something that I feel will be better explained outside of me just doing quests right now. See, I'm not very good at explaining how a game is played, only what a game does. That makes me want to play it. So, we were mentioned towards a training school, and the training school is a great place to learn about how to play Monster Hunter, but it actually has some rewards that we want as well. Namely, it grants you a couple of equipment items that have pretty good skills on them. So you actually want to do the tutorials in this game. And it's good to do so because they do teach you how all the weapons work, and they also teach you the bare essentials of how to play Monster Hunter. In this current sense, all I've been doing this quest has been a simple action. Go into an area, find a gathering node, and hit the button. That's all Monster Hunter is. Because, even though we've spent our time... Let's see here. We've currently spent about 20 minutes in this area. We've gathered a decent amount of supplies. We spent about 360 zenny on bug nets and mining pickaxes and a little bit of Felyne just for show. And we have wound up with a handful of decent materials that'll help us later, as well as account items. Now then. Oops, I need to do that. Goldstone pieces are another account item like mountain herbs are, and they are worth 200 zenny apiece, which means about 200 points. So, there's also going to be like a tiny life hack that I'll show, which is that it's actually faster to gather from crouch. Like a little bit faster to gather from crouch. But I'm just going to sit here and gather this rock pile for a bit, because we do need a lot of stone. Stone is going to be important for crafting later, for a lot of things. A lot of things. Stone is a valuable and easy to come by resource that is basically everywhere. Just look for a tiny rock pile and go gathering. What's nice is that this occasionally grants whetstone, which is also good for us, because whetstone is expensive, and instead of paying like 160 zenny for a whetstone, there's a rock here that you can possibly get whetstone from. I think we're actually pretty close to the stack limit of stone. Yeah. We're almost at 20 stone. There we go. Alright, we're done collecting stone then. Stone is going to be good for a couple of recipes that are going to save us some zenny down the line. Namely, stone is used for pickaxes. Mountain herbs are maximum. Okay. Then we're done here. Are we done? No, I want to go to Area 4. Area 4 has another node that I want to grab before we leave, and I might actually dump my map for it. See, you don't know all the locations in this game. You don't know all of the areas in this full map by default. You have to have a map in your inventory to tell you where everything is on the map. And even then, if you could no doubt tell, This map isn't exactly detailed. It's pretty neat, though. It's pixel art. It's kind of cool. So Area 4 is a place I wanted to go to because at the very end of this decline, there is a beehive, and honey is an important resource that we want to build up carefully and quickly, because it is a wonderful commodity. And we'll see if I even get honey, because sometimes you can just get insect husks. And this is also an herb node, yeah. Okay. So from that, we got 4 honey. That's pretty good. It's also worth noting that because this was on PSP, you might be wondering, okay, there was only one analog stick on the PSP. How do you control a camera? With the D-pad. And you might be wondering, why would they do that? I mean, obviously, the PSP was limited in terms of its design, so it was kind of hard to make 2 analog sticks fit on a console that small in 2006 or so. Well, the answer is that it's always been that way, actually. In the original Monster Hunter on PlayStation 2, attacks were mapped to the right analog stick. You still use the D-pad for camera. So, the game has always kind of been that way, but as the games have progressed, eventually in Monster Hunter Tri and 3 Ultimate, by proxy, that is about the time when dual-stick controls became the norm for Monster Hunter, and it's been that way since. If you played 4 Ultimate, you essentially played a dual analog sense, because the way that they did that was that they allowed you to have a virtual D-pad. And you could just plop that in the top right corner of the screen next to all your face buttons. And that was that. Base camp is great because you can take a nap on your bed. This nap will fully heal you, so if you don't have healing items and you're pretty close to the end of a hunt, just go back to camp, sleep for about 20 seconds. It's a free heal, and you can use it as many times as you want. Okay. There's our small monster bone. Okay. We got 300 Zenny for completing the quest, and all of our additional points would then go into the account item conversion, but we just got Zenny from that for now. Because it's time to learn about building yourself up. Hello. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Which is why I'd like to ask you for a favor. I forgot to introduce myself last time. I'm Treshy's disciple. You know who Treshy is, right? If not, you should go meet him in the gathering hall. The favor that I want to ask actually comes from Treshy. You see, he has a farm, but no one to maintain it. We were hoping you'd be up for the job. It's conveniently called Poke Farm. Everything you need to start off, along with some feline labor, has already been provided. Everything you farm, be it ore, fish, etc., is yours to use as you please. If you need to know how to reap the land, ask the felines in charge. You can also make additions to the farm. If you help Treshy with various tasks, you'll be able to save Poke Points to use on upgrades to the farm. If you deliver account items at the end of a normal quest, or if you take a treasure hunter's quest, you'll earn Poke Points. There are other ways to obtain points, but I'll tell you about those another time. By the way, I put the new issue of Hunting Life on your bookshelf. It is filled with incredibly useful information. I'll deliver the new issue to your house if there is one. Best of luck to you now. And more importantly, this lady. I'm the granny who takes care of getting these felines work. You are a hunter, aren't you? How about trying some of these felines as workers? I've got two types of working felines with me. Feline chefs who specialize in cooking, and feline comrades who are a hunter's best friend. Feline chefs are excellent cooks. If you hire them, you can eat the kind of gourmet meals that can even boost your battle skills. A hunter in your position should consider having a feline chef in your employment. How about taking one out on a trial run? Well, I guess the first feline will be on me. After that, you have to pay a finder's fee for any of these cats you hire. By the way, I didn't bring any of them with me today, but I also have some feline comrades for hire. They can accompany you on quests. But you can't bring them if it's an especially dangerous quest, nor can you bring them if you're on a quest with another hunter. I'll tell you in more detail next time, I suppose. Remember that I'll always have either chefs or comrades in tow. So, I want... We'll get Lily, because she is a 3-meat ingredient chef. I also like the feline resilience, the feline woodwinds, feline grape break, those are good. And then she'll be back tomorrow with a new role of a bunch of different cats. They can either be comrades, or they can be chefs. And for a while, we'll only have a maximum of 2 chefs, but that will eventually increase over time. Now then, Poke Farm. We will be in Poke Farm after every quest we do, because these are free nodes, and we can manipulate them in some fashions. So first off, we have all those items that we had in our inventory when we completed the quest. We're going to put them all away in our box. And now we're going to go to all of these different nodes and gather. So for instance, this one is a mining node. You get a handful of free mines per day. I think it's about 3. 4, okay. Then you have bugs. You just go into this bush. You have your farm. This one is a little bit more intimate. If you give me a seed, I will raise it until you come back. Meow. And not just seeds, I'll raise grass too. Meow. If you've got some dung or worms I can use as fertilizer, I'll spread them for you. Meow. If the soil is fertile, the crops will increase. Meow. Once the crops grow, you can examine the rows and gather them up. Meow. The more rows you have, the more rows you should examine. Pick seeds or fertilizer, then decide which row you'd like me to work on, and I'll do my magic. Do you want to work the land, Meow? Yes. So while we're on quest, we will be growing herbs. So when we come back, we will have to mine or gather from this row of crops. And lastly, fishing. Cast a line as long as you have worm as bait, and then you press square when there is a catch. Or is it circle? Or is it A because I'm playing the English version? It is A. Or X. It is X because it is the English version. Remember that in Japan, the confirm and reject buttons are backwards, so circle is X and X is circle in Japan. That applies here too. The controls can be kind of weird because they were originally one way, and now they're different. But for the most part, we got some fish. We can come back here every time for 3 free fish. And we will put it all in our box. Now then, our item box is looking a little bit more like something. We have some whetstones, we have some stone. We actually have a bone. I can make something with that. We combine a stone and a bone. We got a pickaxe. This is how we make free pickaxes. And you may notice that there is a success rate next to this. In old Monster Hunter, you aren't always guaranteed a complete combination. All combinations in this game, for the most part, with a handful of exceptions, have a failure rate. Combining an herb and a blue mushroom makes you a potion. Potions are the primary source of healing in this game, and if we combine a potion and a honey together, we make a mega potion. This is the most essential item in the entire game. Potions are what allow you to stay in hunts for longer, and more importantly, potions are what will help you stay alive in almost every situation. However, making a mega potion is 90% effective. How do you fix that? Well, my lovely shoppers, if you go to the market, there are books. These combos increase your combining success rate. They are also very expensive. I will be buying the Book of Combos 1 for now, but we will need all 5 books of combos by the end of the playthrough if we want to optimize our survivability. Now then, if I recall, we got our small monster bone, but now we need a brute bone. And we're not going to get brute bones at the moment. For now, we have a decent setup of items going into our box for later. And that is how we're going to continue. Tekka antlers aren't necessary for key quests, so we'll go with hunt the carnivore. We'll be going out to get some Geoprey. Also, hi Pookie. That's a timing minigame. You may have noticed that I didn't go and immediately check out our Felyne chef. We're gonna give that a second to cook, as it were. Now we're gonna be dealing with Geoprey, which are the blue raptors that we fought earlier. We need to hunt 5 of them in order to complete this quest. And since it's not exactly the most trying quest of all time, that means more gathering. You may be noticing a trend here. At every opportunity in Old Monster Hunter, you want to be gathering, even if it doesn't seem like something you need right now. Like right now, I don't feel like I'm in any major threat of being killed or defeated in any way, but I won't know for certain how risky I'm being until it's too late if I'm not preparing. Now these are Popo. These are herbivores, but more importantly, they are a source of a couple of things. Popo tongue is not exactly what I wanted. Raw meat is what I wanted, but Popo tongue is fine. Raw meat will be helpful in a little bit. I actually didn't grab the barbecue spit, and I might as well because it's a free item in the box. With herbivores, when you defeat them, you can carve them for raw meat. And raw meat is a way to increase your stamina by quite a bit. And well done steak is quite a wonderful item, if I must say. Yeah, wasn't quite dead yet. Popo Tongue's also fine because that converts into account points. Root Bone, we need that for Bone Crease Plus. And then we're going to go over to this other herb node. Our Giaprey are going to be in areas 3 and 5, so for the most part we're going to be pretty safe just going to these other zones. I might actually detour to 4 instead of going to 2, and get that honey node first. And then I can loop to 3 and check the mushroom node that's there in the little drop down. Press circle on all these cliffs in order to get up. We don't have a pickaxe in order to mine anything here, so we'll just have to make do. I can also talk to this guy. He can occasionally give you a bunch of weird items. The green seed is a fun item because it works on the farm, but you don't know what you get from it. I mean, there's like a table of things you get from it, but it's green seeds and red seeds that I know about, and they can have a myriad of things that are quite good, but again, it all comes from a table. I don't entirely know what you get from green or red seeds because I haven't written them down yet, but to my understanding, you can get a lot of good stuff from it. Okay. We are going to Area 3 once we have killed these 3 Giaprey. That little shimmer you just saw was Divine Protection. Divine Protection is an armor skill that, on hit, has a chance of reducing the damage you take from an attack. And as you can no doubt tell, these Giaprey have a quirky handful of tricks up their sleeve. Now, I went to go gather that instantly, and some people might wonder why that's the case. In Freedom Unite specifically, bodies fade after like 15 seconds. Like, that body's already gone. If you don't carve the body before the fade kicks in, you do not get the carve. If you get to the carve and it starts fading before your carve finishes, it doesn't give you a carve. So you do have to carve stuff quite instantly in this game if it is stuff you want. Otherwise you can just let it rot, you know? The filter feeders down here are quite quick. First aid meds, those are free heals that are given to you at the start of a hunt. And I might as well make some meat now. So we're gonna wait until the color of this meat changes. So we're going to wait until this meat changes color twice, and then we will press the button to activate it. That's a rare steak. Well, a rare steak isn't too bad. We want to turn every well-done steak, or every raw meat we get, into well-done steak. If it turns into a rare steak, that's fine too. Rare steak gives you 1 pip of energy, of 1 pip of stamina, but well-done steaks give you 2. which is very good. Okay, we're done here. Oh, that's a hidden area. Area 8 has got a little secret cave with some extra gatherables. Ooh, sunset herb. Again, what we want most are mountain herbs because they get you Zenny and Poke Points, and we need to build up those points pretty quick. But we also need Zenny. Zenny is extremely hard to come by unless you take the time to get a lot of account items or do a lot of quests that are really good for money. And there are good ways to farm money in this game pretty effectively. But for the most part, we're gonna be pretty much broke for a lot of this game. Is that a node? Yeah. It's a Dragon Bone node, I think. Oh well. Back to gathering. Alright, that one was emptier than the last time, so that's fortunate. Alright, and we are going back to Area 5. I'm just gonna max out our stamina so I can just run around unabated. I really like the Snowy Mountains because of these moments here. Like, you can see the original, like, stone path that was here, but it is buried under, like, 3 feet of, like, not even 3 feet. It's almost like 10 feet of ice at times. This entire mountain is sheer ice. Our last bits of Geoprey are here. Fortunately, our weapon has been doing pretty okay. But as you just saw, our weapon power decreased, and our icon has kind of changed to like a more serrated or pitted sword. That is our indication that our weapon needs to be sharpened. And fortunately, at the start of this quest, we were given a handful of free mini whetstones. Once you hit 4 sharpened cycles, then you are maxed out on sharpness. Why do you sharpen your weapon? Well, in this game there's a calculation determined by the weapon you have equipped, as well as the sharpness of the weapon. So the lower your sharpness, the less damage you're doing. But more importantly, when your sharpness is not high enough against a certain monster's body parts, they will bounce off. So you don't want your weapons to bounce off of monsters, because that not only leaves you open, but it also doesn't give you damage, and it tears apart your durability. It's a very bad thing. You don't want it. More bones. Okay. I mean, I guess I can, yeah. We don't have a whole lot of time left in that, so... Handful of goodies. Got some Zenny. Look at that, 600, 900 points. Or 690 points, jeez. Brain good. Brain good do good. Let me get some guild points. Now it's time to talk about the fun part. The feline lady is back. We meet again! What good fortune! Remember the talk we had about felines that can go on quests with you, the feline comrades? I brought a few of them with me today. They're all fine fighters, so feel free to look. Once you hire one, a feline comrade will live in your kitchen, just like a feline chef. You can train them there as well. There should be a board on the right-hand side of your kitchen. You can assign which feline will come with you, and much more. You can only take one comrade with you at a time on quests, but you can employ up to 10 comrades. If you can, why not hire a few? So, I'm looking for a couple of options here. Timothy might be a good gatherer. Peace-loving, doesn't really attack anything. Foolhardy is also okay. I might hire a Foolhardy. And then... I think Timothy can be a gatherer. So I hired 2 Palicos. And they're called feline comrades in this, but they eventually take on the name Palico later. Well, first things first, I am terrible at figuring out meals in Freebie Night. I haven't quite figured it out. If I can give a very basic understanding of how feline food seems to work, there are a handful of abilities that you can gain from your feline chefs, but the meals themselves require understanding stuff. Depending on how many felines you have, and the combination of food you make, determines the output you get. And it's not always the same. So for instance, if I had... Let's see here. This seems like a fish, but I don't have a meat here. If I put in a meat and a fish, then this one feline chef would make a meal that is minus stamina. If I combine this into... Let's see here, Bran and Bran should be fine, so... I don't have Bran here either. Veggie? Or milk veggie? You get nothing for veggie milk, okay. Then veggie fruit, then. Yeah, veggie fruit. One-of-a-kind texture. Sure is. Alright. So that covers that. Now then, feline comrades. There are a handful of ways that you can train your comrades. For the most part, I'm gonna have these Palicos doing different things in training, because they're not good enough to do anything super valuable right now. So, what I have here is a Palico guide by... Or sorry, a feline comrade guide by someone on GameFAQs called VioletKIRA, and I will be using that as my baseline for how to grow these cats, because there's a lot going on behind the scenes. So I picked a peace-loving cat. So Timothy will not attack any monsters because of his character. So, in this instance, there are a bunch of activities that they can do. They're currently in resting, which means that they are building reputation. What I want from them is to build their experience up. So I'm going to have them doing hand-to-hand. And then Crystal is foolhardy. Foolhardy is a mostly large monsters, mainly weapon setup, so there's a chance that this cat can use bombs, but I'm going to build its attacks using dumbbells. So they're going to go do that, and I'm not going to set them in my active, I'm just going to leave them in reserve. And they will go off and do their thing. In between hunts, they will get their different rewards. So for instance, one of them is doing hand-to-hand. Hand-to-hand is getting them experience points. The other is doing dumbbells. Dumbbells is getting them attack. Attack is good for cats. We want them to have more attack. Essentially, the way that Monster Hunter is going to boil down to is that raw damage is overall better than elemental damage. And it's not to say that elemental damage isn't effective, it's just that the more raw damage you have, the more overall damage you put out on monsters. So, for the most part, felines follow the same track of things, but it's more so that they need to be purely raw damage, because their raw damage is equal to their elemental damage. So if you want them to do elemental damage, you have to increase their raw damage. Get it? Okay. Now then, we finished hunting Geoprey. It is now time to upgrade Pokefarm. We have some points to do that with. What I'm going to get is a mushroom tree. This is a new part of the farm that wasn't available to us until we upgraded it. But now we have a mushroom tree. This mushroom tree will spawn random mushrooms. A lot of these mushrooms are things we want. The ones that we need the most right now are blue mushrooms, because they're a core component to potions. Our crops are also done. We can just go into this row. We got a worm out of it and some herbs. We're gonna put more herbs in. And then we're gonna get to all these other nodes. Free whetstone, that's good. Firefly is also good. Okay, now we go fishing. Every time, chat. Every time, Spirit Bound. Every last thing that we can grab will be important to us later. All this stuff that seems useless, pointless, is actually crucial to certain things. For example, knife mackerel, in case you're wondering. They changed the name to wetfish eventually. I believe it was in... I want to say it was 3 Ultimate, maybe, that they changed it to wetfish. But knife mackerels are a type of whetstone that you can use to sharpen your weapon, and they have a chance of skipping sharpening cycles, which is super helpful. We won't be really capitalizing on that, but they're also important for certain crafts. Knife mackerel's good, I believe, for slicing ammo for bowguns. But yeah. Alright, back to key quests. Sinking Feeling is next. We're gonna grab some pickaxes for our trip. Pickaxes, bug nets. Okay. Sinking Feeling. Deliver Popo Tongues. We are now on Snow Mountain's night. This is the first time we are encountering... Okay, it's circle, and then you press X to grab things. Because circle backs out. Snowy Mountain's night is a very pretty part of the game. I'll show you the aurora in Area 1, actually. It's much prettier there. Yeah. Bearing in mind, this game is already quite pretty, even for the time. Like, the reflection of the water is very pretty. But on Snow Mountain's night, it is a different thing. And that's kind of what matters for the most part. See, while you're gathering, you get to take in the sights. When you're in the middle of a hunt, you kind of focus on the monster that you're hunting, but when it's just you and the need to get certain materials or items, you really get to enjoy the sights. This is a good bug node today. Got a lot of... I mean, we got mostly insect husks out of it, so... But I mean, we did get a royal rhino. I think that's... Yeah, that's a good account item. These deer-looking creatures are called Anteca. We would have had to kill them for their antlers in a different quest. If you didn't, or if you accidentally sold the Mafumofu set, then you need Anteca Peckler. You need Anteca antlers to make that set, I believe. So... So the Popo that we usually have to hunt are not in these areas here, they're up further. So we're gonna have to climb up to catch up with them. While we're on the way, we're in no rush. The Popo aren't really going anywhere. We can do some mining. Okay. Go down here. See if we get bothered by the Geoprey. Which is extremely likely, because here they are. Okay. Sword and Shield is a great beginner weapon because it is very quick to put away and you have a lot of control over yourself. Pressing both of these buttons does like a forward lunge. That's pretty good for catching space. And of course you can guard. We'll get there. There we go. Grab our carve. And we still have those mushrooms to check. Okay. Now you might be wondering, can you carve those? Yeah. There's a couple of weapons that can kill these flying creatures without making them explode. And that's the only way you can carve them. One of the best ways to do it is to just use a poison smoke bomb. Poison smoke bombs are extremely effective with killing small creatures. Unfortunately, I don't even remotely have the materials for that right now. I love all this minutia, though. The main thing about why I enjoy playing old Monster Hunter games is because... Something's got them scared. Oh. Okay, well, we gotta go. Uh-oh. Oh, jeez. We're going. We're leaving. So, in case you're wondering, that is quite a creature to throw at you in Star 1. This is the creature that knocked us out before, and it's not nice. You may have noticed that we were taking, you know, a handful of damage from, like, the small little Neopterons, you know, those... Wait, hold on. Those Nahabras that were pestering us by flying around and poking us. Or the Geoprey that we've been smacking around a little bit. Okay, I need to drop my map. It's Popotom. And this Brute Bone. I don't need that ration anymore. That creature that we just fought, it has a name. I'm gonna let this game reveal it, though. Most people who have played, at the very least, for Ultimate or Gen Ultimate, or even World, know what that monster is. This was the first generation it was introduced in. It's also important to establish what Freedom Unite is as a game. Freedom Unite is the US version of the Monster Hunter Portable 2nd G, which is the, in bare terms, the Japanese version of Monster Hunter Freedom 2, but with additional content known as G-Rank, which are even harder missions. And this is where stuff like Master Rank was first introduced. Over here, we call it Freedom Unite. Monster Hunter Freedom 2 is the PSP version of the second generation game, Monster Hunter DOS, or Monster Hunter 2. And this is sort of a pseudo combination of both Freedom and Freedom 2. And there's a handful of additional content that is admittedly kind of wild for this game. There are a handful of monsters that were originally exclusive to the MMO. Okay, do we have the Popo Tongues? We have 2 Popo Tongues. And they only gave us like 20 minutes for it? Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Our health was, not as high as I'd have liked, but I still lost an obscene amount of health for that. So I tossed my map in order to get Popo Tongues. I'm just gonna run back up there. So, yeah, in old Monster Hunter games, they tend to have this thing where they throw you at a monster that you aren't prepared for, just to tell you you're not prepared to hunt this monster. This is one of those examples. Another example is the first time I ever played a Monster Hunter game. It was Monster Hunter Freedom, if I recall correctly, because it took place in Verdant Hills or something like that. One of the, or maybe Jurassic Frontier. I think that makes more sense. Well, long story short, I had never played a Monster Hunter game before, and this kid that my grandparents were trying to, like, get me to make friends with brought their PSP and their copy of Monster Hunter, and they were just like, yeah, I think this game's kind of neat. And so I tried it, and I had no idea what the game was, so I just picked a quest that seemed simple enough for me to do. And I decided to do a quest where you picked up wyvern eggs. And everything was going quite fine when I first started the quest. I was just, you know, doing some gathering, I was trying to get a feel for what the gameplay loop was. I felt pretty certain that it was a little weird, a little clunky, even in 2009 standards, or 2010 standards. But okay, Tigrex isn't here. Just kill these things before it comes back. I don't even care that I'm at red sharpness, I just gotta kill things. There's that deflect I was talking about. We're also probably dealing next to no damage. Just sharp. Save myself the effort. So the wyvern eggs come... So I go up to the nest, and I pick up a vibrant egg, and I start carrying it back. And I'm like, this is fine, this is simple enough. Well, then I start hearing wings flapping behind me. And I turn around, and the giant green dragon runs at me, and I get killed instantly. And that was my exposure to Monster Hunter. Sometimes things happen, and you really should have seen that coming a mile away. So it is in that sense that stuff like this happens in old Monster Hunter games. And more importantly, carding in a 1-star mission because a monster that you're probably not even supposed to hunt until the end of low rank nukes you. It's not entirely your fault, it's just the way the environment is sometimes. Welcome to Monster Hunter. Got 600 points for that. It's pretty good. And we only died once. Isn't that great, Kali? Got a bunch of raw meat. Okay. That was simple enough. You know the routine. Check the mushroom farm. Mine the node. Check the bugs. Check your crops. Plant new ones. And fish. Fortunately, anything you get in Poke Farm, you can send a box from your inventory being full. I usually empty my pockets before I do all this, but since there's a send a box, I don't really mind. Not bad stuff, not bad catches either. Now we put all of our stuff away. That feels pretty good. Got some herbs, got some mushrooms. Because we have that Book of Combos, we now have 100% success rate potions, which means that we're now gaining a supply of potions. And now that we're done in Poke Village, we go talk to this guy. I am going to establish a new field row. This means that we have another row of plants to plant. And we'll be fine. What's my Zenny looking like? 1400? Okay. Let's get more cooks. Oh, I don't even have the Zenny for it. Oh well. Okay.
Yo! Yo!